Thank you, Commissioner Cohen. At this point, we turn the meeting over to our Vice Chair, as he can oversee the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. Today's meeting of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management is being held in public session. The committee also met in executive session earlier today to discuss matters involving ongoing negotiations or reviews of contracts or proposals. At this point, I ask the Secretary to advise those present of the compensation of the committee and any commissioner recusals on the item before the committee.
Thank you. The Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management is composed of Vice Chairman Linford, the committee chair, Chairman O'Toole, the committee vice chair, and Commissioners Helmy, LaBarbera, and Rosado. All committee members are present, with the exception of Commissioner Rosado. In addition to the committee members, Commissioners Bolwage, Cohen, Eve, Fisher, Kelly, McCabe, and Richardson are also present. As there are no requests for action, no recusals are required.
Thank you. I call on our Chief Development Officer, Derek Utter, to present the capital performance results for the first half of 23. Derek.
All right, thank you, Vice Chairman. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here today to provide a review of the first half of the year's capital results. Spending was $887 million, which was about 74% of the budget. It was up slightly from the spending, at least the second quarter was up slightly from spending in the first quarter. We hit 81% of our scheduled milestones, and we hit 9 milestones that were scheduled for later in the year. So they were hit ahead of schedule. Just taking a look at the first half of the year spending versus past years, you'll see that our spending performance was about 74% of the plan, which is a little bit lower than where we'd like to be. We target at least 90% of our plan to make sure that we're executing on projects and getting them done on an aggressive schedule. Though this spending of 74% was largely driven by timing of payments on our big redevelopment programs. So, for example, at LaGuardia Terminal C, a milestone was achieved in the fourth quarter of last year. Therefore, the payment was made last year instead of this year, and it shows up as a lower than planned spending for this year. So those are the sorts of things that are probably drove about 2/3 of the underspending so far this year. In terms of on-time results, we hit 81% of our scheduled milestones. That was 38 of 47 planned scheduled milestones. And again, in addition to that, we hit 9 milestones ahead of schedule. We think about 81% as being a little bit low. We'd like to be at least 90% of our goals. In some cases, we have been a tough grader on ourselves. We have taken misses on things like supply chain delays from COVID, which affected progress last year, where their milestone happened this year, and so the milestone was actually missed this year. So of those 9 missed milestones, 5 were construction completion dates and 4 were for contract award dates. Just looking a little bit at some of the projects that went into beneficial use in the second quarter, there were 7 projects that were completed. 4 were related to path tunnels E and F, and which is the tunnels that connect Exchange Place to World Trade Center. In addition, we completed projects to install license plate readers at the Goethals Bridge and fire alarm integration systems at the World Trade Center Tower 1. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions from my commissioners? Hearing none. Thank you, Derek. This concludes today's meeting of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, and I turn it back to our chairman.
Great. Thank you very much, Vice Chair.